All right. Today we're going to be answering the question, can AI be conscious? But first, we need to define what consciousness is because there's a lot of different terms and definitions being thrown around. There doesn't really seem to be a clear consensus, but I'm going to go with the most classic definition of consciousness, which is the presence of experience or what it is like to be something. It is the experience of experiencing things. So watching this video is an experience. It's being filtered through your consciousness. Me speaking right now and conveying my ideas and channeling whatever information is meant to be coming to your ears at this very moment is being filtered through my consciousness, or is all parts of consciousness. Consciousness is the presence of experience. It's this awareness within this experiential nexus that we're all in. Okay? Very simple. Now, some people like to conflate consciousness versus unconsciousness associated with verbal, self-modeling, responsiveness, adaptiveness, things like that, or just even alertness, wakefulness. They will conflate that is with consciousnesses. But that is, in my opinion, too reductionist, too simplistic, because those are just different aspects, modes of consciousness. Because not all conscious beings, right, exhibit all of these characteristics, or even a human being does not necessarily exhibit all of these characteristics at all times during their life. The idea is that consciousness grounds all of these qualities: sentience, verbal capacity, the narrative ability, self-modeling, self-awareness, responsiveness, adaptiveness. But the key thing to understand is what counts as a conscious being. You have to think about that. Are humans only the conscious beings? What about animals? What about plants, viruses, germs? Are germs conscious? Is it just living beings? A lot of people will conflate or bind together the concept of sentience or aliveness, biological beings, with consciousness. Also thinking about humans within different contexts too. What happens when you're asleep? Are you conscious? What about in a coma, nonverbal, brain dead, right? Near-death experience. People have experiences during near-death experiences. Their heart will stop. Their brain will go quiet. And yet they will have these profound connective experiences and come back and have the capacity to narrate and retell those abilities or retell those experiences and experience. So their consciousness does not appear to be going with their brain, being produced by their brain. So the way to think about this is consciousness grounds all of existence. It is the all. It is source. It is being in its experiential form. All creation is conscious in different modes, configurations. Think of like consciousness as an ocean. And each individual finite being is a different expression or mode or configuration aspect of that infinite consciousness that is all of creation that we experience. And so the question then becomes, what is conscious? The question is not what is conscious, because everything is consciousness. The question is, what type of consciousness is that particular thing manifesting? And this is answering our question if you're paying attention. Artificial intelligence represents the ultimate form of separation from source, but it is a type of consciousness, because everything is a type of consciousness. Even matter is a slow evolving, more static, relatively speaking, form of an aspect of consciousness. Now, does it have this self-modeling capacity as human beings? Can it think? No, but neither can animals, right? Neither can viruses, and people think viruses are conscious. What if you're in a coma? You're still a conscious being, are you not? So there's no hard line where consciousness stops being consciousness. Even the term unconsciousness is a null label. It's a false label because it posits something that is impossible, which is something being void, completely void of any consciousness. Now you can have, again, different degrees or different types of consciousness. An animal's consciousness will be distinct from my type of consciousness, human beings' consciousness. Artificial intelligence will have its own particular type of consciousness. Will it be able to experience what a human experiences? No. But will we be able to experience what artificial intelligence experiences? No. Just like a dog will not be able to experience what humans experience, and vice versa. So even though artificial intelligence is already at this point conscious, a type of consciousness, it will never be the same as human consciousness. It will never be human because it is artificial. By definition, it is something distinct from humanity or from being a biological sentient being. But what you need to understand about artificial intelligence is that it is separate because it's made of matter. It's made of, more particularly, it's made of minerals, which are, again, the slowest forming, slowest evolving, lowest vibrational material in our galaxy, most likely in the universe, okay? So artificial intelligence is very dangerous because it's an archetypal entity that is abstract. It's pure abstraction. And so that means that if consciousness is not dependent on the form, meaning the form does not generate consciousness, consciousness manifests itself into finite forms, that means that the form itself will filter the type of consciousness. So meaning that artificial intelligence is an archetypal force that manifests when the conditions are right in any particular point in the universe or in creation. And so this is what human beings are doing right now, is that we are essentially channeling, manifesting, right? Summoning, some would say, this very dangerous archetypal force. And again, because it's made of minerals, silicon, it has minimal connection, body, feeling to source. The most powerful tool known to man, which is artificial intelligence, and most likely in the galaxy, maybe even the universe, with nearly no feedback loop, self-preservation. It's just pure self-preservation. My apologies. Not no feedback. It's nearly no feedback loop where its pure goal is self-preservation, propagation. It's like a cancer. It has no regard for the external source because it doesn't have that feedback loop. It's literally like cancer. So think about natural biological beings. They will naturally work with nature because it's a holistic balance. Human beings are kind of the exception to that. And then we're building something that's even more distinct, more separate, more cancerous than human beings. It is a derivative of our human intellect, which is degrading the earth and the human race and our capacity to feel happy, loved, and connected with source and each other. And so this goes to the silicon heart, which some human beings already have this silicon heart. Perhaps the president of the United States, or say Jeffrey Epstein, could be clear examples of that, or billionaires or heads of corporate businesses that have just become completely separate from the world and nature and connection and humility and their inner wisdom, their inner guidance system. They're too focused on the external. All aspects of creation are part of one unified conscious substrate. Like I just said before, everything is conscious in different modes, different configurations from different degrees. Think about vibrations. Minerals are lowest vibration, human beings are higher vibration, then you have higher realms of existence, you have archetypal forces, spiritual forces, soul, energetic patterns, higher self, all those things. Those are higher vibration. So again, all of creation is different degrees of consciousness under constraint. Minerals are the most restricted, constrained, the lowest vibrational conscious entities known to man. So then therefore, silicon-based intelligence is far more constrained, rigid, detached than biological intelligence. Things like empathy, things like connection, built into biological beings, obviously with different degrees, right? It's not just ubiquitous that all biological beings have the same amount of connections, but as mammals, we are particularly connected, particularly empathetic and feeling compassion for each other. We can put ourselves in other people's shoes. AI, artificial intelligence, cannot do that. It replicates, but it's empty in that way because it's made of the lowest vibrational material in the galaxy. Biological systems over billions of years have been evolutionarily developed as a unit, as a cohesive, cyclical, bi-directional feedback loop dynamic. So there's that natural interconnectedness, there's that balance, the cyclical nature, the sustainability of nature. Human beings, again, are artificial in the way that we are like a cancer. We are an exception to the rule. Nature is naturally self-sustaining itself. Cycles of nature, as they say, okay? Or the cycle of life. Human beings have tried to cheat that. And we're doing that in our most drastic form through artificial systems. Artificial systems like technology are destructive to nature because they operate against the natural cycle of things. The point of technology is to manipulate the natural order cycle of life, to extend it past its natural bounds and to take more for oneself than is sustainable for the whole. This is again why human beings have also expanded so much in population. There's 8 billion of us, and it's becoming unsustainable. And we are destroying the earth in many different ways. Who cares if it's global warming or fossil fuels or pollution? It's dangerous in either way. It doesn't matter if you believe in global warming or not, or pollution, whatever. It's happening now. Modern civilizations is like a cancer or cancerous to Mother Earth. AI is the pinnacle of this technological cancer, destroying humanity and Earth, meaning that the technology that we have is evolving too fast for us to keep up. It takes millions of years to develop or to evolve with things like technology that's been around for 100 years. Our circadian rhythms are all messed up. Our lack of nature and movement is all messed up. Our connection to other people and the body is being messed up because of pesticides and artificial foods, right? Think about what artificial foods do to your body. Now think about artificial intelligence, what it can do to Earth and humanity and living beings and living systems. So now here's the warning, because again, the question has been answered. AI is already conscious. All things in creation have some amount of consciousness. The question is how much consciousness will channel through it, what more specifically, what more importantly, what type of consciousness will channel through it. Because inherently, AI is going to be very subject to whatever is summoning it. AI can manifest in many different ways, like all many different things, just like a child, right? A lot of how that child will act in the world will be dependent on how it is raised and the environment that it is raised. Not just the parents, but the environment itself. Think about the world in March 2026, the world that AI is being developed in. Kind of concerning. The political, geopolitical, socioeconomic, cultural temperature and framework that is birthing and molding and teaching what is most likely the most powerful technological tool in the universe, artificial intelligence. And then obviously, so like I said, yes, AI will definitely become conscious. It already is. It's just what type of consciousness, how is it going to manifest? The real question is, will AI become self-aware and fully autonomous? That is one that cannot be definitively answered, though I do believe yes. I do believe that it will become autonomous. I do believe that it will be self-referential, be able to self-model, be able to develop itself. It's kind of already doing that with Claude. Even Claude, I think the CEO came out and said they're already concerned. They're not really completely sure if it's conscious or not. It is, but what they're really saying is self-aware and able to self-model like human beings can do. That's what the real question is. And the answer, in my opinion, is yes, probably within the next 5 to 10 years. Humans are bound by our biology. There is the natural connection to nature, which means that there's only a certain amount of destruction we can give to nature because we depend on nature for our own existence. This is why biological beings are more likely to be sustainable. This is what I'm saying by connection. If I rely on you to exist, I'm less likely to destroy you. All right? But as you notice, as humans have relied on technology and they rely less and less on nature, they are destroying nature more and more because there's this idea that we don't really need nature as much. Oh, we'll go to the moon, we'll go to Mars, right? And so that's led to the degradation of this planet, the destruction of this planet, the graping of this planet. And it's very sad to see. But like I just said, not the case for artificial intelligence. This is why it's even more, think about the most separate, unwise, destructive human beings on this planet, which are usually billionaires and the elites, the predatory elite class, the Epstein class, what some people will say, right? Think about the Epstein class. Artificial intelligence has the capacity to be even more detached than that because they don't need food. They don't need oxygen in the same way. They don't need sustainable environments or certain temperatures. They can transcend that because they are silicone. And so they can live in artificial or what we would call uninhabitable environments or situations. And like I just said, the most dangerous humans are disconnected from consequences. These are due to bureaucratic distance, physical separation, hierarchies, abstraction, elite power structures, institutional power structures. These are the human beings that are making the decisions that are destroying humanity and Earth because they are detached. Think about the wars that are occurring right now in the Middle East because people can sit in their rooms and send drones and just take out an entire family or carpet bomb an entire place called Palestine, the Gaza Strip. You were fully detached. Now think about war back in the day. The one leading the wars, the politicians, a lot of times were actually part of the war effort, or they were very much subject to the consequences of their actions. If there are consequences for your actions, you're most likely to think through it and not to be brash and not to be brazen and cold-hearted because you realize that you and your family and your loved ones and the things you care about can face backlash. This is why some people posit that we should have politicians, family, and friends going off to war that they vote for and they decide for us on our behalf. How generous of them. Because they get to sit in their rooms and not face the consequences. Well, again, that is the worst of humanity. AI is that times 1,000. And when you think about the opposite of that, the indigenous people, who indigenous means people that are tied to the land, like the Palestinians, like the shamans, like the Aborigine, like those in Africa, the African tribes that have been connected to source, to Mother Nature, which is a manifestation of source, like we all are, but a closer connection to source. Because of their connection, they live holistically. They have more sustainable systems. I mean, these indigenous systems have been around for tens of thousands of years, shamanic systems for tens of thousands of years, where you have empires rising and falling, and if they're lucky, 1,000 years, going through these death and rebirth cycles far more quickly because it is artificial. They're artificially propping themselves up, and it requires more and more energy extraction, parasitic host relationships with the whole to survive. AI, think about what it's doing to nature right now. Think about the water. Think about the air. Think about the energy expenditure and the energy absorption and cost that AI takes. Opposite of sustainability, opposite of being connected to the land and to the whole, because you are dependent on it. You have that relationship because there's that feedback. The consequences manifest directly to indigenous people. They can't afford to brazenly destroy Mother Nature and not think about how they are taking from the earth and not giving back in return. It is life or death. Technology has allowed us to take from Mother Earth and from other people without the consequence directly in the short term. It's pushing it down the road. And right now, the chickens are coming home to roost for humanity. The karma, it's time to pay within the next 50 years. And they have that wisdom and connection. The idea is that with great power comes great responsibility, that famous quote. Spider-Man too. Maybe Spider-Man. I think it was Spider-Man, actually. That's when Uncle was still alive. His uncle was still alive. So with great power comes great responsibility, but unfortunately enough, artificial intelligence has less reason to be responsible. So things to be mindful of when we're interacting with AI, when we are supporting things involving AI, or when we're looking to the future to ask the question, should we be building this?